Hello, Mis Amores. I think this is a very overdue video that I've owed you guys for a while now. I have not uploaded anything since about May, June. It's been a while. As you know, my name is Rosie, and if you're new to this, this is RRasAle. I wanted my first video when I came back to this to be something a little bit more personal. I really want to open up to you guys today about how I got or how I'm working to get to a better version of myself. Just because I feel like we're not perfect, we always have something that we can better if we can. But you know, one thing that I will say is that to never get lost in that. It's great to be aware of your surroundings, aware of yourself, aware of things that you need to work on, but you also have to appreciate the moment while you have it there. One of the things that I actually will talk or have talked in my other videos is about like horoscopes, anagrams, things like that. I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar with them or not. I'm into horoscopes, that I like to dig into the analytical part of it, you know, learning about anagrams. Anagrams to me was very interesting when I got to learn the concept of it. Anagrams, I got into it into one of my jobs. The reason why at that company they would do it is because if you understood yourself, you understood what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, it helps you being aware, and it helps you to work on those things if you need to, as well as it makes you aware of other people that are surrounding you. The reasons why I like to dig into all of these again is because it gives me a better understanding of myself, it gives me a better understanding of my surroundings, and you know, things that I've got to work on. Personally, myself, I've always been in therapy. I'm the type of person that, like, I'm very selective on what I tell people. I feel like therapists are professionals. They are there to understand certain things that other people might not catch on to. They'll be able to give you that professional advice that you need. After graduating high school, I've never went into one until probably 2 years ago. I went back to therapy. I can tell you that it was the best decision that I've ever made in my life. You know, for me, therapy was a place that I can open up, I could be vulnerable. Before, I used to think that vulnerability was a weakness. Now, I don't see it as that. I feel like someone that is vulnerable, someone that is being genuine, that is sharing their feelings, they're shedding their emotions because they want to tell you how they're feeling. They want you to understand where their point of view, where they're coming from. And I feel like it's so hard because people just rather nowadays not deal with the situation, not talk about things just because they don't want to be vulnerable. And I see vulnerable as one of the strongest suits ever. So I will be vulnerable nowadays and put myself out there, and at this point it's just me being true to myself. At least myself in therapy, I've learned to be vulnerable, to speak about how you're feeling, because you'll catch up that sometimes you might be the toxic person that's damaging your situation. But for most of all, therapy for me has always been something very great. I'm able to share what I'm feeling, and they give me a better understanding or help me sometimes look at something that I didn't see for myself. A lot of the times how they do it is they'll ask you questions that you go into your unconscious mind, because it's not truly everything that needs to come out. And your unconscious mind is where you'll find the things that you need to work on yourself. And it's a really hard place to get there, you know, without the specific help. I really have to be honest and say that the moment that I changed, the moment that I actually said that I love myself, was the day that I decided to cut those toxic people around me. When I cut out all those toxic people that were in my life, that's when I started seeing all the changes, and I just started seeing things a lot more different. I started working more on myself. I started paying attention more to my surroundings. Someone toxic in your life can be anyone from your relationship, whether it's friendship or a romantic relationship, whether it's any family members, because you can't have family members that are toxic. And I truly believe that your well-being, your peace matters more than anything. So if you need to cut off people that are damaging that, then that's what you need to do. one of the things that I started doing this year was I started journaling. And anytime that I was having like a really, really bad day, I started writing down how I was feeling. Just anything that was coming to my head at that moment, I would just write it down, write it down, write it down. But it's just writing your emotions and writing everything that you're feeling at that moment just feels empowerment. It just feels like you've let out so much. I'm the type of person that it's so hard for me to sometimes open up to people. And I've always believed in having a therapist, but at the beginning of this year when everything was going on, I didn't have my therapist because I was changing, medical plans, and obviously this one didn't work, whatever it was. I just didn't have her at that moment to speak with. So my resource was to write down everything, my emotions, everything that I was feeling at that moment. And then rereading them later on really opens your eyes at like what you're thinking, what your emotional process is being at that point is sometimes a little bit more exaggerated than what things are. And not only that, but me reading so many things that I wrote about myself or that I would write down as I was feeling, it's like when I'm reading them, I'm like, no, baby girl, you are not none of those things. No, like, you're so amazing, and it's one of the things that I now, instead of, I still write down what I'm feeling and my emotions, but also when I get to that point where I'm feeling so overwhelmed, I'll record a little video for myself. And instead of just talking about my emotions, I'm talking to myself how I would want someone to talk to me. I'm calling myself beautiful. I'm telling myself how much I love myself. I'm telling myself how fucking amazing I am. I'm telling myself how everything that we've gone through. And I'm telling myself, Rosa, you're fucking amazing. You have gone through so much. You're such an amazing woman. I'm so proud of you. You're doing amazing. This is just a little thing that you have to go through in life. You're gonna see in a couple months that this was the best thing that was meant to happen to you. You're broken down right now, but you're gonna get up and you're gonna go to work and you're gonna do your workout, or you're gonna go out for a run and you're gonna go conquer today. Because you're amazing. Because you're worth it. You are worth it. You're giving yourself those affirmations. You have to. Sometimes you become your worst critic. And like I said, I'm a perfectionist. But even though I'm a perfectionist towards other people, I'm also such a nurturing person that I know when to stop. I know when is that point where you're still getting that support. And sometimes I forget to be nurturing with myself, to love myself. One thing that my therapist told me is that it's important you have to be methodical. You do have to plan your things. You have to set your goals. But you also have to be nurturing. There's days that you're not going to be able to get those 5 tasks done. And just because you didn't get that one task done does not mean you have to beat yourself. But you have to be like, I'm very proud of you for getting those 4 tasks done. But next time, you do have to go back to that methodical part and be, okay, what can I better so I get that 5th task done without having to beat yourself up? We have to take care of ourselves and love ourselves. In our worst moments, if we don't pick ourselves up, who is going to? It's great to have a support system, and I love my support system that I have. I love my family. I love my friends that I have, but they're not always going to be there for me, and you can't hold that against them, because there's going to be days that you are going to be by yourself, and you have to learn to be okay with yourself. Even if you're still taking care of yourself every day, doing everything that you need to, giving yourself that love, that nurture. Even in your happiest moments, when you're having such a great time, one thing that I've learned is that I always have to find a moment during the week to center myself, where I analyze everything that's going in my surroundings, to be thankful for everything that's going around me. That time alone, myself personally, I love going out for runs in like a forest, where the whole time as I'm running, my mind is just blank. It's just music and the beautiful surrounding around you. Running might not be for everybody, you do have to find your own thing that will get you to that self-centered place, but to me that's what it was. Just sometimes disconnecting yourself from the world, which that was my little moment that I had for myself when I went running. My phone was not available. It was my moment for me to just let out any stress that I had. Recenter myself, recenter my peace. To me, that's what I need to do every week. Personally myself, I love podcasts. So, I'll listen to a lot of podcasts as I'm working. And the other day when I was listening to a podcast, they were telling a story about how, this girl had gone out of a really long relationship. She got to the point where she said she was ready to date. She goes on a date. She goes on the date with the guy. It goes great. They go on about 3 more dates. After the 3rd date, the guy never calls her again. She ends up calling a friend to tell her about the date and how the guy never called her again. And the friend said to her, well, of course he was not gonna call you back. You're so ugly. You're not tall enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. And what will you think of a friend that tells you that? But the story about this was that it wasn't a friend. It was her own thoughts. Everything that was being told to her was her own internal thoughts that she had. And if you don't think it's okay for a friend to say that to you, why would you think it's okay for you to speak about yourself like that? So through every situation, the one thing that you have to do is always be positive with yourself and stay true to yourself, stay nurturing to yourself, especially in the hardest moments that you're going through. Because you're already going through such a difficult time that you beating yourself up is not going to help the situation. Another thing that I've learned to help me keep my peace. I started unfollowing so many people on Instagram. I started cleaning out what I was viewing, who I was following, who I was talking to, what conversations I was having. Because sometimes the most toxic things could be what you're viewing, who you're surrounding yourself with. One of my favorite quotes ever is, when the flower doesn't bloom, you change its environment, not the flower. It's the same thing. When you surround by toxic things, when you surround by drama, negativity, that's what you're bringing to yourself. I personally myself started cleaning up my social media. I started with my Instagram and who I was following. Now, I could tell you that the main things that I follow is like horoscopes, and obviously because it's me. But I follow a lot of things that are like spiritual, motivational quotes, and that just works for me. Because I like to see something that reminds me, every day, something that motivates me, seeing a quote, seeing something that I can relate to, something that inspires me, something that I'm reading that's not just a gossip. I honestly have muted people out of my social media. I've blocked people, I've deleted people. If I don't feel like you're bringing any positivity to my life, I respect my peace and my worth more than anything, that I have no problem with cutting you out of my life if you're bringing that negativity. But one thing that you have to remember is that you can't forget that you can also be that toxic person to other people. So you do have to be aware of yourself, your emotions. You can't always blame everybody else. One more thing that I do for myself is, while I'm at work, I put my phone into not disturb mode. Simply because I want to be focused on what I need to be focused on and not distracted by anything else. Even when I'm having days where I just don't want to talk to people, I'll disconnect myself for a little bit from people being able to reach out to me, from me talking to anyone, until I recenter my peace, One thing that really brought me a lot of peace was also having time control. Having that control on how much time I'm allowing for people. I feel like before, I was the type of person that, yeah, I was working 24/7, but if I had 5 minutes and someone would text me and would be like, let's make plans, I'll be like, oh my god, I haven't seen this person, and I'll feel guilty, and I'll be like, oh my god, yes, let's make plans, like, I'll go see you right now. And I'll be like overbooking myself and having no time for myself because I'm always, with one friend, with another friend, and I feel guilty because I don't have enough time for everybody, or I will be over spending my time. And you know what? None of those people ever appreciated it. And the reason why, even though I was doing everything and I was doing the most and I was always here, I was there, I was going from one place to another, I was pleasing everyone, the one that ended up the less satisfied was me, because I ended up drained out of my peace, out of my time. I would get drained out of energy, because that's how much energy, that's how much I was giving out to people, but I was not receiving anything back. And that's when I started respecting more my time, being more selective with what time I gave it to anyone. When I started respecting my time is when I started respecting myself. I just want to put out there that these are just things that I've done that have helped me be more at peace with myself. I feel like I'm at a point where I have so many things going on in my life, but I'm still staying so positive, and I'm trying to always work on not letting myself get down, on not letting things that are around me take control of me or my life or my emotions. I'm taking control of it. I'm respecting myself, I'm loving myself. One thing that I'm working on is that, to me, image has always mattered. Words came on who's being looked at me, and I'm not saying that you don't have to care about what people think of you, how people view you, because I feel like it's all about values. The thing that I've struggled the most is that my brothers and my sisters are a lot older than me, so the values that I've been implemented are a lot different than people usually my age. So I have this super traditional values that I hold because I still believe in them, and it was something that was implemented by my family to me, so I'm very family oriented. And I'm a little bit more of a liberal person. I feel like I'm such an open-minded person that I could see both views, but I hold my values very strong, that it sometimes limits me to connect with people that are my age. I respect everybody's views, I respect everybody's thought of mind, and I feel like the only thing that you need to do is that you need to understand what your values are and always stay true to them. Never lie to yourself, never change for anybody else. There's a thing about improvement and trying to work on yourself to better yourself and become that better version of yourself than being a complete different person, because that's not who you are. You need to be aware of who you are, what your beliefs are, and let that drive you to being that person that you want to be, that ultimate goal where you want to be at, and not what people want you to be. You need to always stay true to those, because the moment that you lose track of that is the moment that you start losing yourself. The moment that you say yes to something that you don't agree, that you don't value, that's a day that you're disrespecting yourself. And the main thing is that you always have to stay true to you, and that's it. Personally, myself, I place a lot of time, a lot of value into always working on myself, being aware of also not damaging other people that are around me. That, it hurts me to see other people that just go around the world knowing that there is something that they need to work on, but instead they just go around hurting people. You have to understand that not everyone is as pure as you are. Not everyone has the best intentions. Not everyone has the well-being for you. And the only person that you can look out is for yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, you don't nurture yourself, you don't love yourself, how do you expect other people view you? You think that you're lying to people? Yeah, I love that game of fake it till you make it. Don't fake it until you make it. Be true to yourself. Get to that ultimate goal. Work on yourself, challenge yourself, and trust me, that is way more rewarding. But as long as you have a good support system and you know who those people are, because you need to be true to yourself and who those people really are, and learn to cut those toxic people off your life. As long as you nurture yourself, you love yourself, you're finding ways to connect with yourself, to center your peace. You're finding ways to let that stress out, to let those emotions out. You become vulnerable. You become aware of who you are. You understand who you are. And it's hard to get to that point. I can't tell you that I 100% love myself. I can't tell you that I 100% know myself. I can't tell you that I'm a perfect person. I cannot tell you that I've never hurt people. I cannot sit here and tell you that I've never been the toxic person, because yes, I've been the toxic person. Yes, I've hurt people. Yes, I've damaged people. Yes, I have not been true to myself. Yes, I have lied to myself. Yes, I have hurt myself. Yes, I have been my worst enemy. I have been that person that doesn't let me come out. That's been myself. Not only other people, but you also have to put blame to you when that needs to be. But that does not mean that you get to hold yourself down and keep blaming yourself and keep telling you that you're bad, that you're a terrible person, that you're toxic. When you are speaking back to yourself is when you're holding yourself down. And instead, you need to speak well to yourself, and you need to say that I love you, that you're amazing, that you're so proud of yourself. But you also have to be realistic on what you need to work on. You can't just speak pretty and not do the work. When you don't do the work is when you go around damaging people. When you don't do the work is where you stay at the same place that you will always stay at. Today was completely different video than from all of my other videos, but I really wanted to sit down with you guys and speak about what I've done, what I've been working on, and what I'm going through. I did not forget to completely film. Actually, I have 2 videos that I have not uploaded. One was with RRasAle, which is one of my really close friends, and I have another one with Bernelli, which is another of my really good friends. And I am going to be uploading those videos pretty soon after this one. They are old videos, so mindful time is a little bit different, but I think those videos were so much fun to record, and it just gets to see another view of myself and other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I do have a blog that we talked about in a video that I'm going to be uploading with Mari. So I do have a lot of videos coming up for you guys. One of my favorite things is that I try to do things to, like, sometimes when you get a little glammed up, you just feel yourself. You just like have that empowerment, like, oh, I'm that bad bitch. Like, yes. Pretty Little Thing is this store. I've actually bought from them before in the past, but I got obsessed with them again. And since we've been staying in due to COVID, I felt like all I was wearing was like sweats and like my sports bras, and sometimes I was not feeling myself. So I went out there and I bought a lot of like lunch wear, like, you know, like cute clothing that you could wear while you're at home and comfortable. So I think this is one of like my favorite pieces. I have it in 2 colors. That's how much I loved it. And I'm gonna be doing a video coming up soon also on a try and haul with some of my favorite pieces that I bought from Pretty Little Thing. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Apart from loving yourself in different ways, and again, being very aware of yourself, setting up goals for yourself, getting hobbies, doing things that are for you and that make you happy, and that is bringing that creative side, that is bringing that drive, that challenge. I personally myself, I love having a challenge. I love having something that drives me. I love having a motivation. I love having something directly that I'm looking at a goal that I'm going to accomplish. I like looking at challenges in the eye and saying, I am going to conquer you. And with all of these videos, I hope that helps you guys get to that place, that new version of yourself, that version that was always meant to grow. Remember, when a flower doesn't bloom, you change its environment, not the flower. We're all beautiful flowers in this garden that do not need to change, but maybe just our environment, our train of thoughts. Maybe you need to start looking at things from a new positive way and just be driven by that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It feels so great to be recording these videos again. Honestly, I've missed it so much. I've been dragging onto it, but that is enough talking for today. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know any more topics that you guys want me to talk about. Alright guys, until next one, love you, mis amores.